Hey everyone, and welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast, and Happy New Year, everybody! It is 2020, and this is episode 189, entitled Our Predictions for 2020. We're going to get right into Speculation Town today, so I know some of us in the chat, they've been excited. They love Speculation Town. We're going to do that a lot today. My name is Steve, but I'm not alone. I'm joined by Barry. Hey Barry, how's it going?
Hey Steve, it's great to be back here. Happy New Year, everybody. Been missing this for the past few weeks.
Has been, yeah. It's been crazy not to talk with you guys, and Barry, you've been busy on another podcast recently. The last several months now, right? Like,
yes.
Little plug for them at the beginning.
Yes, absolutely. So I was gracious enough to be picked to join the Switch Mania Playcast by host Jeffrey, when the other co-host, JP, was unable to make it for a time. And now JP is actually back, so the three of us are doing very similar format to what we do here. So they didn't kick me off or anything, so I'm still there, so definitely give them some love. We do that. That's actually a weekly podcast, and this is bi-weekly, so it kind of works. So you get double the Barry if you really enjoy listening to me talk.
Nice. But I'm not just joined by Barry. I'm also joined by Greg, as usual. Hey, Greg, how's it going?
Hey, everybody. Great to be back and back from the holidays and ready for Speculation Town.
Nice. Greg, I know you finally caught up to some of the rest of us with getting some games over the holiday season. How's that been going? Have you got to play them yet?
Unfortunately, no.
Well, at least you own them now.
That's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I do want to start trying to stream Pokemon and stuff and get that going. And then I did want to try to hit Luigi's Mansion 3, but it just didn't. The time just didn't quite click with New Year's plans and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, we want to say thank you to all you guys for tuning in. As always, we are live on YouTube, so if you're listening or watching this after the fact, we would love for you guys to join in live if you can. We're pretty much live every other Tuesday, at 8:30 Eastern and 5:30 Pacific time, and you can figure out the ones in the middle, like I have to because I'm in Mountain and Greg's in Central, so we all have to figure that out. Math is tough. I was talking to the guys earlier. I got a new Stream Deck, and I can control everything that we're doing right now. And my default screen actually has all the different time zones on different buttons, so I can just glance down and go, "Oh, guess what? It's this time in Central or this time in Pacific." So, little cheat now. Thanks for tuning in, and we would love for you guys to join us in the chat throughout the live show. We'll be referring to you guys, and would love for you guys to throw any thoughts you have about the stories that we talk about, any predictions that you have about 2020 tonight. It'd be awesome. But if you are tuning in later, be sure to still throw your thoughts in the comments, or send us a message on social media or our Discord. We have all those different ways for you guys to contact us in between shows. And we would love for your subscription. We'd love for you to hit that bell on YouTube. That just helps us to kind of make sure that we find our way to your inbox and your subscription list. And that'd be awesome for you to do that. And, of course, share it with someone else that likes Nintendo. We would love to just keep increasing this community. And Jakester, I am not a cheater. I'm assuming he was talking about
Pumpkin
me.
Eater.
Yeah. Who has time to do math quickly nowadays? Speaking of not enough time, let's go back to Greg and see what you actually did have time to play over the last several weeks. So we know you couldn't play those other games, but anything else you actually did get to play?
Well, right before I got the games, I did be able to squeeze in some time on Mario Maker 2. I was going through some of the popular levels, and I was going through a number of the music levels just because my daughter and even my wife were enjoying listening to some of the tunes that people came up with. So that was still pretty incredible just to be playing some courses there. But really, that was about it, because after Christmas, then I was like, oh, we have to do Christmas over here, over there, or like, oh, we're off, let's go do this, go do that, and not a ton of time at home, and all of that kind of stuff. So I did keep up with the normal stuff on Fire Emblem Heroes and Dr. Mario World. So unfortunately, that's the bulk of my update is just playing the two mobile games.
Gotcha. Well, at least you got some time to game in there.
Yeah.
Barry, what have you been up to the last few weeks?
Well, I didn't have as much time to play as I would have liked. Obviously, I kept up with Dragalia and some Mario Kart Tour and mobile here and there, although not nearly as hardcore as I have in the past. I'm still doing Final Fantasy 14, but again, not hardcore at all. Very, very casual. But I did do one game in particular on the Switch, and I actually got off the Switch after that, which was Layton's Mystery Journeys, Catriel, and the Conspiracy of Millionaire, or the Millionaire Conspiracy, which is a 3DS game ported to the Switch, and I had a lot of fun with it. It was my first Layton in a long time, and I was like, you know what, I needed something kind of just light, kind of just carefree and light, and had a lot of fun going through it. I didn't do every puzzle, but I completed the story, and then I looked at the schedule, and I'm like, the next game coming out that I really want to play is Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE, because I have it on the Wii U. I just didn't get around to it. I'll play the Switch version, but I wanted something in between, and I did the most insane thing I could think of, because that's me. What does somebody with no time decide to do? Let's put in a JRPG that spans 3 games. That's exactly what I decided to do. So I started Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel, the first one, because the third one was actually announced for Switch, but the first 2 weren't. And the first 2 came out in the Vita and the PS3, and then the PS4. So it definitely could run on the Switch. No questions asked. So I don't know why they did that, but I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to play the PS4 version. And I'm right now on the final chapter of that game. But that's the first game of 3. So I don't know if I'm going to jump to Tokyo and then jump back, or just steamroll through this, or what. I don't know. But yeah, that's the insanity that I decided to go with. Because that's, why not? No time, let's
of course. Yeah.
And I think I'm like 60-something hours in the first game, playing on the easiest thing. Like, I haven't lost a fight. I've just gone through and just steamrolled it, and it's still that much content.
Wow. So you got a lot of hours. We'll just say that. Again, I'm not going to do math in my head. We're just going to say a lot of hours ahead of you. Wow. Is that one of your New Year's resolutions to go through all of them?
No, it's one of those things where I'm a big JRPG fan. I love JRPGs, and I was doing a lot of discussions. I'm in like Tales of group, because I love the Tales of series. In our Game of the Year, I talked about Vesperia, and I'm obviously a huge Xenoblade fan. And a lot of times people are talking about Trails of Cold Steel. Like, it kept coming up, and the more it came up, it was like, there's got to be something to this. Like, I wanted to play it, I just didn't get a chance to. It's made by Falcom, who did the Ys games, and not last year, but the year before that. Ys 8 was on my Game of the Year nomination, so that's from Falcom on the Switch. So I'm like, you know what? Let me see what it is. And the first game is slow, apparently, and it is. It's a lot of setup, and there's a lot of. It's almost like Final Fantasy 13 type of terminology in terms of this faction. It's a political story. It is like watching Star Wars Episode 1. How that's a political. It's like that, but with like extra factions thrown in. So,
you but it Jar Jar?
No Jar Jar. But it does follow a unique system that I haven't really seen much in JRPGs. It's almost like Tokyo Mirage Sessions is kind of like that in Persona, where it's like high school kids, but instead of high school, you're military school. It is repetitive. I will say that. That's the biggest negative I could say about that game. It follows a structure, and it follows that structure to a T. So chapter 1, 2, 3, like every chapter follows the exact same structure. Okay. Once you've seen the first chapter, you know exactly what you're getting going through the rest of the game. There's curveballs, but it follows the same format.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I kind of don't like. But I heard the second game's better, so I'm going to keep going.
Yeah. Nice. Let's see. Let's go to the chat first. Chariot Goblin said he's really anticipating the next Brain Age, but it's not yet announced for US yet, which is unfortunate. Jakester said he's just been playing, been on the variety train. He's been playing Pokemon, FGO, Fire Emblem, Luigi's Mansion, Vespera, and etc. He said, so I guess he's playing a whole lot of games. I was kind of on the same sort of train this holiday season. Like, I played a little more Pokemon. I played a little bit of Pokemon Go. That's like pretty much every time I start traveling, I play a little more Pokemon Go and try to see what new Pokemon I can find. Usually I'm sitting in the airport, and I poking around my phone, and that's what happens. And so yeah, I played a little bit of that. Played a little bit of Mario Kart World Tour at the same thing. Let's see, it's not called World Tour, is it? It's just Tour.
Yeah.
And then pretty much the big Switch games I played was a lot of Jackbox games. That was pretty much like all of our family time over the holiday season was just lots and lots of Jackbox. So those are just a blast, and yeah, I think they might still be on sale. If you haven't checked out any of the Jackbox games,
were they on sale?
They were on sale over the holiday season because I ended up picking up 1 and 2. They were like 60% off or something like that. So I went ahead and picked up 1 and 2. So now I have like 1 through 6 on the Switch. So yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Those are probably digital titles I will grab because outside the first one, which did get a physical, I don't see them getting physical.
No, probably not. And then played some Rocket League, of course, not as much as I normally do on a regular basis without the traveling and stuff, because most of the time I'm playing online. And so, I didn't have a whole lot of time online. And I think that was basically it. I dabbled around with a couple other games, but nothing worth really mentioning or anything like that. So, Jakester's a big fan of Jackbox as well, it looks like. Jared's in the chat and said he's been playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and played some Nippon. How do you pronounce that? Nippon?
I think it's Nippon
Marathon. When he went to MagFest last weekend. So that's cool. How was MagFest, Jared? Let us know in the chat. Chariot Goblin also played some Dragon Quest XI, and the post game is so long. He says.
Yeah, it is. It is long.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Nippon Marathon actually came out in the Switch. European got a physical release.
Okay. Cool.
I thought that name sounded familiar.
Yeah.
You guys didn't even touch your Dragon Quest 11. Well, I know Gregor has it, and you didn't touch the demo at all.
Did I not touch the demo? Maybe I might have, but that was one of the ones that I only spent like a short amount of time with, and I kind of forgot to. It wasn't any sort of substantial time at all. But yeah, he said it was awesome as usual. Cool. MagFest was awesome. I've never been there. Maybe someday. All right, let's move in a little bit of the news and rumors section before we talk all about our predictions and what we're excited for this year. And as per usual, I think it's clear now that Nintendo really does pay attention to our schedule. Clearly, because we thought there was going to be a Nintendo Direct. There was rumors of one being in January. It's not really that far out there to think that that's going to happen, and it still might happen. But also, we got a Pokemon Direct announcement today that's going to happen on Thursday. Forgetting the time off the top of my head. Do you guys remember?
9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 a.m. Pacific.
Okay, so those people in California got to wake up early, and me just an hour behind them. But yeah, so Pokemon Direct this Thursday. Still rumors of a Nintendo Direct sometime, probably in January. Let's go a little bit to speculation town. What do you think we're actually going to see in this Pokemon Direct on Thursday? I don't think they've really said anything about it at all. They just said it's happening and it's 20 minutes and that's about it. So Barry, you got any ideas of what we're gonna actually see?
I saw something about updates to Pokemon Sword and Shield, which I totally expect. I mean, there's no reason for them to really kill that game so quickly. It just came out. So I definitely expect some Pokemon Sword Shield DLC news. I also expect probably some other miscellaneous merchandising thing. They did the one thing with that, like the T-shirts or the dress shirts you can order. Probably something mobile related, either Pokemon Go related or another Pokemon mobile game or something like that. And I do expect there to be some kind of surprise Switch announcement, whether it be like a Pokemon Snap sequel, which I know a lot of people have been hoping for. Maybe it's the Crystal or the Diamond Pearl. Emerald, or not the Emerald, what was the other one? Platinum.
Yeah.
Remakes, which have been speculation. I don't know. That might be a little too early to announce that. I mean, again, Sword and Shield just came out. Maybe it's something completely different. Maybe a new 3DS game. Who knows? I mean, I'm not expecting much, though. I would not go into this thinking, "Oh my God, we're getting Pokemon MMO or something like that." And watch it. Watch that's exactly what it is. But keep expectations in check. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, Cherry Goblin's hoping for a Detective Pikachu too, the sequel to the 3DS game, not necessarily the movie.
They could do both.
They could. I would totally watch a Detective Pokemon 2, Detective Pikachu 2. Wow.
There you go.
You that's a lot harder to say than I expected it to be. Anyway, yeah, I'd totally be up for both of those. Yeah, maybe we're gonna see another Pokemon announced for Smash Brothers.
Switch port of Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, that could also happen. Greg, what do you think?
I don't know. I was kind of agreeing with like a various like towards the end of his, with like the Pearl and Diamond or whatever the next remakes are, because I think that's how they've been doing. They do like a major generation and then they have like the half generation, like either like a remaster or like a 2 or whatever. So I feel like it's the next games are coming in November or whatever those are likely to be. I mean, they probably also have obviously update news on Sword and Shield or any new features there. I actually didn't even really think about Smash Brothers until you said it, but I don't know if they would do a Pokemon Direct for that. Yeah. I mean, I guess technically it's possible.
Yeah.
I would think that's much less likely, but...
What about Let's Go Gold Silver?
Yeah, that's certainly a possibility too.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it'd be weird to see, I think, a follow-up this quick. About another game, but Jared mentioned Pokemon Home and possibly Sleep. That's not a bad idea actually for like, because we haven't really heard anything about that recently. I would expect to see maybe some more on that. That's a safe bet, I think. Not saying that's not calling your guess safe, Jared. It's just I think that's a really good idea. I think that's quite possibly going to happen. Cherry's Thin Mystery Dungeon might be. Who knows? I mean, we haven't seen that in a while, so I know Husson would be really happy about that. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. We'll find out in a couple hours or a couple of days. Not a couple hours.
A couple hours.
Yeah, it's gonna be here before you know it. Again, math bad for me tonight. Bad. So math speaking, I'm in bad shape tonight. So let's talk about this Nintendo Direct. Like, when do we actually expect it to happen? Do you think this Pokemon Direct will take its place, or do you think we're actually going to see a full-on Nintendo Direct before the end of January? Greg, what do you think?
Before the end of January, possibly. I'm thinking it's probably going to be like early February, I feel. But I don't know, I think we were all expecting one last year, and I think that's when they decided to move it to early February. So, yeah. I was kind of trying to look through the release list to see what kind of games are already like covered, and I think there's already a number of games already for February. So I feel like February's already like kind of better overall, but I could be wrong. Obviously, they could still show it by the end of the month, but I don't know. I don't have my fingers crossed for that. I'm thinking it's more going to be early next month.
Okay. All right. Barry, do you agree? Or do you think we're going to actually see it in January? And when do you think?
I think there's a chance still in January because it's still early. I think if not, then early February. But I would be very surprised if we do not have a Nintendo Direct by February 15th. I would be really surprised because the last time we got a Nintendo Direct was in September, early September. I think it was September 5th. And, you know, that's half a year at this point, almost. You know, that's a long time. And yeah, we had the Game Awards, but that was a bust, and that didn't count. And we had like Indie World, but again, that's kind of its own thing. So I think they need to let people know what's coming out spring. And we don't really know a lot. We know Tokyo Mirage and we know Animal Crossing, you know, but there's got to be more. That can't be it. There's definitely more coming.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think I think that pushing it off to February is probably the better thing for them. I could see that happening, maybe like early February, because I feel like we have information about what's going to happen through January. yeah, I'd expect it to be in February as well. Gave us some more details on what those games that they said they're coming out in 2020, but that we didn't actually have exact dates yet. Maybe we gotta get some more solid windows, launch windows, and maybe some more information about some of those bigger games that I think we're probably gonna be bringing up later in our predictions. But yeah, I think
here's another factor I just thought about. The Smash Pass ends February 2020 is when the last character has to be out. Mm-hmm. So they have to announce it, and I don't see them just randomly throwing it out on the internet. So there has to be a direct attached with it.
So do you think that's going to be just a Smash Direct, or do you think they attach to a whole Nintendo Direct?
I think it's going to be attached to a Nintendo Direct.
Okay.
But I think that's because if they announced the character at the Game Awards like we all expected, then I would say anything's off. But without that, we need to know. I mean, they could do a shadow drop and say, "Here it is. Oh yeah, it's out right now." Mm-hmm. But there has to be something. It's too many people are waiting for it, and Sakurai knows it. Nintendo knows it. We're waiting.
Yeah. We'll see. Mike's referring back to the Pokemon Direct. He really wants just a Hey You Pikachu sequel, and I think a lot of people will be happy about that actually. Jared says he thinks there'll be a late January or early February Pokemon Direct. There'll be no to make space for it. Okay, so the Pokemon Direct is there just to kind of create some extra space. Yep. I think we're all in agreement on that. I think this one kind of just to bide us over for the big one that's going to be coming. So probably not next podcast, but probably the one after it. We'll be talking about hopefully some big stuff. So, speaking of what might be announced at that Nintendo Direct, there are rumors that we're going to have at least two more. Who knows what Nintendo's got up their sleeve, but at least two more Wii U games ported over to the Switch. So I know some of you guys have mixed feelings about these Wii U ports, but feel free to dive into that as well. But what other games would you want them to bring over from Wii U that we haven't seen yet? Barry, what do you think?
I'm all for Wii U ports. Even having the full Wii U set. It's just one of those things where those games were put out to die, and it's nice to get to fill in the spaces with some of that. What I don't like is Wii U ports that come at full price or more than what they originally came as, with marginal added stuff. And I always refer back to Tropical Freeze. That should have had DKCR included. Both games for $60. It would have been a much easier pill to swallow. I think a lot of people would have been happy with that, and to me that just makes sense. For me, I'd love to see Xenoblade Chronicles X, hands down, of course. I would also love to see, and I'm not a horror fan at all, so I probably wouldn't even play it, but I would love to see Fatal Frame 5, just because that did not get a physical over here. A lot of people forgot about it. It is only on the Wii U, and once again, the Wii U, they shut off the Wii U servers completely, the Wii U shop. Americans can't play that game, and I hate that. So I would love to see that get a second life. Physical over here, Nintendo of America. Those are probably the two biggest. Definitely, if they do Pikmin 3, Pikmin 1 and 2, put them all together, do a trilogy. Don't be half-assed. Just make it a good package. Especially with a lesser-known franchise, you want to pull in all the people who haven't. A lot of people have the Switch that haven't had Nintendo systems in a while. So,
yeah, that's true.
Those would be my picks.
Yeah, Greg, what do you think?
Well, I've been following some other people almost expecting a Super Mario 3D World is one of the main ones, just because of the multiplayer components, and that would obviously work really well on Switch. Ones that I was kind of more thinking about, as Barry was talking, was pretty much. I know the Zelda 35th anniversary is coming right up, so I don't know if they'll do Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD as some sort of bundle. Maybe that would be better. But yeah, the other one that I had actually noted was Pikmin 3, because obviously I've heard that there's Pikmin 4s on the way, and what better way than to help get people more interested in that than to actually release the previous game. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I would love Mario 3D. I would love Pikmin 3. I still need to finish that game because I don't know what something happened and I never actually finished Pikmin 3. And I don't feel like starting my Wii U back up again. So it'd be great if I could play it on a Switch. Wonderful 101 is one that Jakester mentioned. I think that game was fantastic, and it'd be great for more people to get that opportunity to play that game if they ported that over. Xenoblade X as well, and Jakester also brought up Star Fox Zero, and we all agree that like that game could have been so much better. I'd like to see it like and actually play it like a real Star Fox game instead of that horrible control method that they had on the Wii U. But we were talking about this the other day. Like I saw you guys especially talking about it in our Discord about like what would be better. Just a port of Star Fox Zero with better controls, or just a brand new Star Fox game. And I think I'm in the camp with you, Barry. I think you said this that you'd rather have a brand new game with a different story instead of just rehashing that same story over and over again.
3 games are the exact same story, and they keep erasing games. Like Star Fox 2 is technically not canon anymore, because Star Fox 64 started over, and like they just keep rebooting it, and it's like they don't know what to do with the franchise, and it's so easy of what to do with that franchise. You're in space. You can, Starlink, they could even use that. Hey, yeah. Ubisoft, Starlink failed. Can we make the next Starlink as Star Fox and just use those characters and continue that story, and bridge the universes or anything? I think people are just hungry for it. We want Star Fox. Just look online at the Star Fox reveal trailer. Just look at the reactions to that and watch people freak out. They want a Star Fox game, and they don't want one with gimmick. I love Star Fox, and I couldn't play Zero. It made me sick, like physically ill going back and forth. And if they said, hey, guess what? We're going to give you Star Fox Zero more traditional, would I be happy? Sure, because I'll actually get to be able to enjoy that game. Right. I did not get to play it. But I would be happier if they put out a Star Fox collection instead. Put out Star Fox 1, 2, 64, Assault, Adventures, Command, and Zero all together. Put them all together. You could fit them all together.
Totally.
Get people back in love with your franchise.
Yeah. Speaking of I think you guys had mentioned I would love to see the Pikmin collection as well. Yeah. And I think the Metroid Prime collection coming over. Also some of those great ones. Which would be Wii, technically. So I'm up for Wii ports as well. So
Xenoblade.
Yeah, there you go. It's already coming. So who knows what we're gonna get? But yeah, there's some really good Wii U games that I do hope that do come over. Just because we've had the opportunity because we got a Wii U, we played the Wii U's like crazy. But there's so many people that didn't get those opportunities to play some fantastic games. One of the quick things I wanted to note on is that on January 11th through 12th, so just in a few short days, the next Splatoon 2 North American Online Open is going to be going on. So if you are still playing Splatoon 2 and you think you can stand against the best, you can actually play online in this Online Open, and you can go to Battlefy. It's Battlefy. Is Battlefy or Battlefy? I've always wondered. I have no idea how to pronounce that, but anyway, battlefy.com/Splatoon2, and you can sign up. Either of you guys gonna plan on signing up and playing online?
I haven't opened mine yet.
You haven't opened Splatoon 2?
No.
I still think I'm not even ranked in Splatoon 2. Never even loaded up the multiplayer.
You never did? Wow. I've never loaded up the single player.
I completed the single player campaign, but didn't really play it online.
Nice. I barely played the single player. Played mostly online. Basically the same thing as I did Splatoon 1, but I haven't started it in a long time. But glad to see that there's still some people really enjoying it. I enjoy the game, but yeah, I just haven't played it in such a long time. Quick thing as well. There's a little bit going on. You guys know, the wonderful 101 and some other games made by Platinum Games. So their director, and I'm totally going to butcher this name, Hideki Kamiya, maybe? Something like that. Anyhow, the director of Platinum Games he recently we went on Twitter and decided to basically bash the Switch UI, and shared some strong language about his dissatisfaction of the Switch UI, and we've shared our thoughts in the past about we agree that it could definitely be better, but I just want to kind of get you guys' reactions to that and see what you thought about him kind of just lashing out against the against Nintendo, and basically like saying, I think he said something like, have you guys even played your own system or something? Like, so what do you guys think about the Switch UI? And maybe this is getting into your predictions later, so you can leave the predictions aside. But just in general, how do you respond, or how did you react to him saying that, Barry?
I mean, it is what it is. That's not the news I wanted to hear from Platinum Games.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, everyone has their own opinions. So it doesn't faze me either way. I want to see more games from Platinum. I want to see more collaborations with Nintendo. I want to see Nintendo buy them, which seems less likely now that they just did a deal with Tencent. So they're in bed with China right now. So who knows what they're going to be doing? But they did state that they're maintaining their independence. So I guess anything's the limit. But I mean, he's very outspoken, anyways. That's just who he is. Could the Switch UI use an update? Sure, but it doesn't bother me either way, personally.
Yeah. Greg, what do you think?
Yeah, pretty much what I go along with what Barry said. I mean, like, he obviously is like a kind of a loudmouth kind of character. I used to follow him for a while, and then I was like, getting kind of sick of him to seeing his trash talk all the time. I mean, I guess I'm okay with like the UI, but it obviously certainly could be better. I really hope that they change it, because I don't know, kind of trying to find games that have been on there since like the first year are kind of more difficult to find, going in like the more games and scrolling all the way down. I mean, I would think, that's what was so nice about the Wii U and like the 3DS menu, is it was like you could see everything right there. It was like, I want to play this game, even though I haven't played it in months. I can just boom, load it up as long as like the cartridge is in or whatever, downloaded.
Yeah.
To me, the biggest problem with the Switch UI is that it has limits. Like, you can't go into your own profile and scroll down and see every game you played. It does not go all the way back if you played a lot of games, and I think that's a problem. Like, you should be able to go back just randomly. Oh, out of curiosity, how long have I played this? Oh, I can't see.
That area, yeah, that's true.
It's like, come on. Like, it's now 2020. Let us see. And it's not like they delete that from the cache, because they don't. You pop the game back in, and it's now at the top of the list, and it keeps all your data. So just let us see that. It's so nothing that it's such a Nintendo thing to restrict you from seeing your own playtime.
Yeah. That's true. And I remember hearing someone else on YouTube was talking about it as well, and they actually said that even though with all its limitations, that the Switch UI is actually their favorite of all the current systems. Ryan Anthony's saying in the chat that he agrees that the Xbox UI is awful, and it really is. And I love the fact that the Switch UI is so quick, and it boots up so fast, and it's not overwhelming and get overdone like the Wii U, and it's not trying to do too much. But it would be nice to have some updates there, and I won't get too much because that's actually one of my predictions later. Spoiler, but I'll share what I would like to see later. But yeah, I'd like to be updated, but it's not the end of the world for me. I wouldn't necessarily go to Twitter and be like, oh, one of the things that I hate the most is the Switch UI. No, there's other things that I would rag on before I would rag on that. But.
Yeah, same.
So, all right, let's move on to our last kind of piece before we're going to look at our predictions. Let you know ahead of time, we're going to be briefly looking back at our predictions for 2019 just to see how we did, and then we're going to spend a lot of time talking about our predictions for 2020. But before we jump into that, let's talk about the games that we do know that are coming out for 2020. The stuff that is already being announced, and at least for now, without barring any delays or anything like that, this is the stuff that we know is coming out this year. What are you guys most excited about playing in 2020 that has been definitely announced? Barry, you want to go to you first?
I'm not totally sure. Part of me says Animal Crossing, but the problem is there's so many games announced that we have no idea the dates.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know when Xenoblade is really going to make it 2020. We don't know if Metroid Prime 4. We don't know if Bayonetta 3. We don't know about these games, and all these games would be like, yep, that would be the top of my list.
Mm-hmm.
So of the ones we know, I'm excited for Tokyo Mirage Sessions and Animal Crossing, probably evenly. And I think those are the only ones I really know about from Nintendo.
Okay. Okay. Are you a Deadly Premonition fan?
I am not, because I'm not a horror fan.
Okay.
That being said, I do have the Xbox 360, the PS3, and the Switch versions physical. So.
Okay. Okay.
But I know Deadly Premonition 2 is coming out.
Yeah. And there was another game, I'm blanking on what it was. Shoot. What is it? Oh, Trials of Mana is coming out this year.
That's...
Yeah, I figured that was going to be on your list as well.
I was just thinking Nintendo, but yeah, otherwise Trials of Mana for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Greg, any big ones that that are coming out this year that you're really excited about?
Well, I didn't know we were limiting it to just Nintendo, but
no, we're not.
Oh yeah, we're not.
Oh, because I was gonna say Bravely Default 2.
Okay.
Another one we don't know when that's coming.
Well, the list I saw said it was coming in. It was announced for 2020, but
yeah, I think
it wasn't
it
just speculated for
just general.
Yeah, that's what they just said. It was a generic 2020.
Yeah.
There was no fall, spring, or winter, August, or anything like that.
Yeah.
Then the other one that also said 2020 was Axiom Verge 2. I think that was fall, I want to say.
I believe so.
That sounds right. Or it was August or September, somewhere right around there. And the only footnote I had put down was Breath of the Wild 2, because I'm I don't know. It depends on how much they reused from the first game and how many changes they were doing, and if they have been working on it since the last one, if they were able to reuse most of the engine and just change certain things. And I don't know. That was more of my wishful thinking one. Definitely not expecting it in 2020, but
yeah. Are you Greg? You liked Meat Boy, right? So
I've actually never played it. I was kind of interested
Really?
I was kind of interested to try it, but I know it's kind of one of those extreme platformers, like a Dark Soul platformer version.
Yeah. Yeah. Just because I knew Super Meat Boy Forever was coming out this year as well. And Barry, I was excited or surprised not to hear you talk about Skatebird.
It's definitely one of those that is unique.
Yeah.
But it's not. Yeah. Not oh my god. Absolutely have to play that.
That is the top of my list. Animal Crossing. I also have mixed feelings about it. I like that it's coming, but I'm also how much time am I actually going to be putting into that this year? Excited that it's coming out, and I'm excited to see what happens with it and everything. Having it, back on a hybrid system like this, to be able to have on the go and on a console. I always got into the handheld versions of Animal Crossing and never got into the console version. So to have one that I could do both on is kind of cool. Hey, Jakester's got some Skatebird hype, so that's great. And another one I'm really excited about is Gleamlight. That was in the indie showcase that was back at the end of last year. It's just cool. It looks like a really cool platformer, and I love what they're doing with the UI and taking it away and just using the environmental kind of stuff. So I see myself, if we get some of those big games coming out this year, I'll probably spend some time with them for sure. But I see, unless we find out some stuff. I see myself probably playing a lot of the games that I didn't get a chance to play in 2020, spending more time with that, and just kind of diving into that more. But if Nintendo Direct comes around and we end up getting a bunch of announcements for this year, yeah, I'm going to have to be joining Barry with the no time. That's what's going to happen. So
you got to get that backlog.
How come I'm not in the no time? I'm not even really playing Switch.
Yeah, because you were in the no game section for a while.
Yeah, now you have the games.
Now he can be in the no time. Oh man! All right, so let's move into predictions. So feel free, guys, to throw your predictions for 2020 into the chat as well. Again, if you're listening after the fact, shoot us something on social media, leave a comment here on YouTube. But let's look back at 2019 first. And see how you guys did. And maybe if I don't know if you guys have your actual predictions up front, or you just kind of remember what you were doing, but kind of give us a general idea, a little report card, if you will, of how you did in your 2019 predictions. Barry, let's go to you first.
I actually don't have my 2019 predictions because all my computer issues. In fact, when we did that, I was on my laptop. In fact, no, I wasn't even on my laptop. I was on my wife's laptop because I didn't buy the laptop yet. So my computer was actually in the shop. So I don't have any document, but I do remember specifically one where I was very adamant that a Switch Pro was coming out and not the Switch Lite, and there wouldn't be a Switch Lite, and I was totally 100% wrong on that. And I will totally take that. I was wrong. I do remember predicting as usual Retro showing what they have. I was wrong. I don't remember my other ones, but I'm sure I was wrong too.
Yeah. I think some of us we repeated a lot of predictions last year, so I think as we go over ours and stuff, you'll probably remember them and go, "Oh yeah, I did that too." So, Greg, do you remember how you did from last year?
Well, thankfully we had that awesome list in Slack, so I went back to my private message I sent myself with my notes, so I have the full 5 fully flushed out here.
Nice.
So, that being said, upon reviewing it, I got a nice 40% correct ratio out of the 5. So I said that Mario Maker would be launched for Switch. Yes, it did. I said Mario Kart Tour would launch last year. Yes, it did. And then finally what I was incorrect on was Metroid Prime 4, which I think it was like shortly after the podcast. It was like, oh, by the way, we're starting over from zero again. So big down on that.
Yeah.
I also was saying that there'd be a franchise revival between Kid Icarus, F-Zero, or Punch-Out. Did not see anything of that sort. And then finally, I also predicted for the Smash DLC that we would get a Fire Emblem character for 3 houses, and that has not happened. So,
Well,
I know how much Sakurai likes. Yeah, I know how much Sakurai likes Fire Emblem, so I was hoping that would be more of the safer one, but apparently it was not.
Yeah. I feel like looking back at my list now, I realize how safe I was being in 2019. I was like, oh, Steve, these were softballs. But I actually, in a way, I think pretty much you could say I was 5 for 5, but they're definitely softballs. So I said that a revised version of the Switch would be announced. We got a revised.
Very generic.
I wasn't very specific like Barry was, so it made me stay safe. And I said that they would see them stop manufacturing the 3DS. Basically.
They're still manufacturing the 3DS. They stated that they had no more games coming out.
They had no more games, so it was close. It was almost there.
Still
not making any more
system.
Games, but it's really close. So not completely.
I don't even think that even counts, because that makes it seems like it's just like cut off and fully dead.
They're still producing
If they're
Good point. I said that Metroid Prime 4 would be pushed back to 2020. We didn't actually get an exact date of when it's being pushed back. It just got pushed back, so I'll give myself half credit for that one. And the same thing for Pikmin 4. We pushed back to 2020. We just still don't have a date for that either. So both of the games got pushed back. I specifically said 2020. We're just kind of in limbo right now from both of them. And then I also said that SNES games are going to come to Nintendo Online, and they actually did. So overall, I think I did pretty well. But again, I will acknowledge most of mine were pretty safe predictions for 2019. So, Barry, did you happen to find your list yet, or no?
No. Okay. I told you it's on a completely different computer.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see what the chat is saying as you guys get your 2020 predictions ready. Oh man, there is a lot of stuff that I have missed. Jakester said that NintendoFuse is the no time kingdom. At times, yes, very much so. So Ryan is saying that he thinks that Gods and Monsters looks really cool. And also that's no release date as of yet, so we don't know for sure if that's going to be coming in 2020. The creators of AC Odyssey, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I think it'd be super expansive. So let's see. Jared is saying that he's thinking they will show more Animal Crossing. I'm assuming at the Nintendo Direct to hype up for March, either Zelda or Metroid. For the holiday season, Smash Brothers Ultimate, final DLC character with a shadow drop, and then talking about the next DLC. He's also said that they may announce an N64 Classic, but that's a bit in the air. That's interesting. We talked a lot about the 64 Classic last year. Nothing at all, so it'd be interesting to see if that pops up in you guys' list this year. Ryan said that he's Nintendo... his prediction is that Nintendo makes us forget about PS5 Project X by announcing Breath of the Wild 2, Metroid, and Gods and Monsters. Chariot says that many 2019 predictions include Metroid Prime 4 and funny in hindsight. Chariot. Yeah. So Ryan also said he'd lose 15 pounds and he gained it instead. So. That's unfortunate, but here's to 2020. That's great. Man, we had a very active chat. I can't even keep it up with it all. So yeah, this is going to be great. So continue to throw your predictions there in the chat. We'll refer to them as much as we can throughout this. Chariot's asking if there's going to be the obligatory Mother 3 prediction. We'll see. We will see. So how we're going to do this is very similar to our Game of the Year awards, although we haven't necessarily put these in a particular order. We're just going to go around one by one and share our predictions and kind of chat about it, and just kind of go to speculation town and have some fun for the rest of the podcast. So let's move into our predictions, and let's go to Greg first. Greg, what is one of your first predictions, and whatever order you want to put them in? What's your first one?
Well, I was predicting that you were going to call on me first because you've been calling on Barry first the entire time for every the other topic. So that's one check. All right. All jokes aside, I don't think we're going to get just one Smash character. I'm saying that we're going to get between 4 to 5 characters released over 2020. So without keeping it super generic, my list is including Byleth from Three Houses, and then here's where we go to Crazy Town with Geno, Crash Bandicoot, Monster Hunter, and Master Chief. I think with Nintendo and Microsoft going all hands in hands, I'm starting to see this as a very out of the ballpark idea that might come to fruition.
Microsoft said no more Xbox games are going to the Switch after Ori.
Oh, I guess I missed that. So there's one off for next year. So that's why I said I left it at 4 to 5. So now it's not 5; it's hit 4. So.
Nice. Okay. All right. That's you guys pretty specific though in that. So that's interesting. I think a lot of people will be happy about some of those. So, all right. Barry, what's your first one?
I'm just going to throw my first one out there because it's the same one I've had for the past 3 years now for E3 and for predictions. And that is simply we're finally going to see what the hell Retro has been working on outside of Metroid Prime 4. We'll see Metroid Prime 4 this year, absolutely. But we'll see their other game, whatever they've been working on. And if they haven't been doing anything and they've literally been trolling us, I am going to be very mad because they have to have been doing something since Tropical Freeze. It's been way too long. Come on, I've eventually got to be right.
Eventually.
Since you've been criticized my Master Chief one with the Microsoft thing, didn't you hear that a lot of Retro's games have been kind of getting canned because of like quality and staffing concerns?
Yeah, but I think we're gonna see something. Maybe it'll be Ravenblade will come back. I don't care. Just show us something. It could be a little done in paint. Here's what we've been working on. I don't care. Just show us something. Show some sign of life.
Yeah. Nice. Oh man. Okay. I'm not sure which one to go first. Okay. I'm gonna go there because Greg went there. I'm gonna go there. Because even though Microsoft said it, I think they're just blowing smoke. I actually think we're gonna get a big Microsoft property coming to Switch. Maybe Halo. I don't know, but I think they're actually not telling the truth. I think we're actually going to get a big one this year from Microsoft coming over, and this will play into something else later. I'll just say there's a connection to a prediction that I have, but I think we are going to get a big Microsoft property coming over to Switch this year. All right, Greg.
All right, number 2. This is probably my safest one on the list, unless you just count like a half point for that first one. I was going to say there's going to be a new Mario sports game. The one that I would like would be baseball, but the one I think we're getting is golf.
Boo and boo.
I can see that.
Bring on the strikers. Bring on strikers. That's what I want.
I'm with Greg. I want the baseball.
Come on.
Yeah, I didn't really like strikers a lot. I actually had both games, but
you're kicked off. I'm going to take you off right now. No. All right, new one. Okay, are you willing to go on like even more specific and say that it will be baseball or golf or one?
I said golf was the more specific one that I'm expecting. Okay. Baseball is the one that I would rather have.
Okay.
Right. So I would give myself more half points if I get the baseball, but
sure. It would be interesting to actually see just a specific one because, like last time, we get that sports collection. We've gotten tennis, but we haven't really seen a whole lot from Mario Sports lately. So, all right, Barry, number 2.
I'm going to be very specific on this one. I say that Nintendo will announce and release either the Switch Pro or the Switch 2 on either the same day or around the exact same time as the PS5 and the Xbox Series X come out to compete. They're going to be, we're coming in and we're going to play hardball, and here we are.
Wow. All right. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go back and just connect this one with the first one. It's funny that Greg and I are kind of on the same page. I didn't get as specific and detailed as he did, but I said that one of the new Smash characters that will be released, or at least announced and released this year, is actually going to be Master Chief. I think he's going to be one of the ones that's coming up. So I think Microsoft property is coming over, and maybe even in all connection with that. That's why I'm thinking maybe they actually might be bringing Halo over. Who knows? Or a Halo type of game or something like that, and they're gonna bring Master Chief to Smash Brothers. So.
Yeah, I'm more thinking that's more for the second pack. Was my line of thinking.
Probably. Yep. All right, Greg. What's your third one?
All right, so this was kind of more where I went at for an E3 prediction last year. I'm thinking that we'll get like a Fire Emblem 4 kind of like Echoes version, like a remaster or like American or more worldwide release. I think we'll at least get an announcement for that. It might not release in 2020, but I think it will be coming maybe early 2021 or something. Maybe even this year, even if it's far enough along.
Wow. Okay. Would that be is that a quick turnaround or is that normal?
Well, I don't know. I felt like they
different team, right?
Yeah, I think they had done like what was it, Fates, and then like the year after they had like the Echoes. Shadows of Valencia.
Yeah, that's true.
Echo came out right after, so I was kind of thinking it was almost might be similar to that. Like now we have 3 houses, and then this year is kind of more like a remake or smaller title kind of thing.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
And I feel like 4 is the next one in the series that they need to bring over. So.
Okay. Cool. All right, Barry. About number 3 for you.
To go along with my number 2, Breath of the Wild 2 will launch this year, and it will launch either on day with the Switch Pro or Switch 2, or it will launch a little beforehand, but it will come to both the original Switch and the Switch Pro, Switch 2, but most likely the exact same day to truly compete, saying, here it is, brand new Switch model, plays all the other games and Breath of the Wild 2. But I do think it'll come out in the regular Switch as well to not alienate the 40+ million people.
Okay. So a very similar process to what it did the last few times. All right, cool. I'll just go ahead and say this one because you just did. I also think Breath of the Wild will release this year. I'm not going to. I'll share more on the expansion of that thought that Barry just had in just a bit. But I will say that my third prediction is that the Breath of the Wild sequel will release this year as well. So, probably holiday season, most likely.
Well, that's when PS5 and
right.
Xbox One. So.
For sure. All right, Greg, number 4.
Well, I guess might as well keep a Zelda train going. Where I was going with this was I did mention like the anniversary. I'm thinking in order to get another HD game, and more specifically, I was looking at like the Oracle games being brought over because they had just done Link's Awakening, and I almost feel like they might look at the handheld version, but also do the importance of like the anniversary. I also even had like a side note. It could be even Ocarina of Time being ported over from 3DS. Along with either like a Skyward Sword HD version as well.
Okay.
And another want of mine would be an actual remake of Zelda 2, one of my favorites in this entire series, but that's very questionable and very unlikely due to everyone's hatred towards the game. So
it's not hatred towards the game.
But everyone just thinks it's too hard and gives up to it.
It's
really
definitely harder.
Yeah. I like the Oracle idea though. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that was like the safer spot. I started more safe, and then I got more wishful thinking towards the end.
Nice. I want to refer to the chat real quick because I'm missing some of their thoughts. Ryan says that if a Switch Pro comes out this year, he's going to miss some rent payments. Sorry. I have a Switch Pro, but you'll be on the streets, so I don't know what's better. And then Jakester, he threw out a left field. He says that a left field prediction is that we're going to get a sequel to something related to another Octopath game. Chariot Goblin says that Intelligent Systems outsourced most of Three Houses development, so we're kind of referring to us talking about Fire Emblem earlier. Jakester says that if Breath of the Wild 2 releases with a Switch Pro, that means that all 3 Switch models released with a Zelda game. That's actually true. I never thought about that. Yeah, so... Cherry doesn't think that Skyward Sword would work on Switch. Yeah, they'd have to definitely change the control method for sure. Could require a lot more work than just porting it over. But
that's what I was kind of
Joy-Cons
with
could
the Joy-Cons,
work.
Yeah, because they are like motion, and I'm sure it's kind of similar to the Motion Plus that you use. So
yeah, and Brer Dragon, that's
that
you again. Me. I keep forgetting you right in there, and it's not your name, so I keep forgetting.
Snaked in there.
Yeah, you snuck in there. You should just no, it's someone else. I don't know. But yeah, I think that could work. I love Skyward Sword. I think it's a great game, and yeah, it could be a possibility. But yeah, I really like the idea of the Oracle games for sure. Barry, how about number 4 for you?
I think this year is going to follow the trend that the past 2 years have followed, and instead of getting a classic, we will get N64 games on the Nintendo Switch Online. I think they will be released at a slower pace than even the Super Nintendo's games are.
That's pretty slow already.
That's what Nintendo does. They'll probably go for that authentic N64 feel, launch with Mario 64 and Pilot Wings 64, and make us wait a little, while for Wave Race and everything else to come over. Especially with the lack of pulling rare games and third-party stuff in. But I do think they're going to go that avenue instead. And I'm also going to predict that when they release those, they will not raise the price. They will still leave it at the $20 a year, giving us more bang for our buck.
Interesting. So basically taking the same approach they did to Virtual Console.
Fine.
We're going to add N64, but we're only going to give you like 5 games.
Yeah.
So, but okay. So you said like Mario, Pilot Wings, Wave Race, things like that?
Yeah, like obviously they can go above and beyond,
Yeah.
and I do expect more. That was more like a joking thing. Like Nintendo don't really do that, but I don't expect like if talking about the 35th anniversary of Zelda, they could do like here's Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask in there instead of I would love for them to do physical, especially like the 3D versions brought over on HD. But I can definitely see them doing this instead and saying here it is 35th anniversary, boom.
Nice. That's funny. So Jakester just said, here's a prediction. Earthbound and Beginnings will still not be on Switch Online because somehow it's a forgotten franchise.
Yeah, it's a forgotten franchise, Jakester, unfortunately.
That's actually probably the safer prediction, is that Mother 3 will never arrive on any sort of modern system. All right, so number 4 for me, which one do I go with? I'm gonna go with this one. I alluded to this earlier in the podcast, is that I believe that the Switch UI will be updated this year. I think to at least include, and I hope this is a safe one. I really this is one of the ones that I'm like, please be safe. But to at least include new themes and folders. At the very least, give us themes and folders so you can organize your games and you can change to have some sort of different background or something like that. It doesn't have to be as detailed as the 3DS with the different songs and all that stuff. I would just prefer just to have some different colors, but some sort of way to give us some themes and folders at the very least on the Switch UI. So, all right, Greg, number 5.
All right, this is kind of more of a happier one for me that I hope that comes true. I'm thinking Mario Kart 9 is going to get revealed and possibly be released. We've kind of seen their trend, how they we'll launch the Fire Emblem Heroes mobile game. Here's 3 houses. Here's Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. Here's Animal Crossing on Switch. Here is Mario Kart Tour, Mario Kart 9. So I'm thinking that we might actually get 9, and then 8 Deluxe can kind of be shelved for a little bit as 9 kind of takes over.
Mario Kart 9. Ooh. All right. Okay, sorry, I was just reading. There's a lot of stuff, in the chat. Quest 64. There's some heated conversations going on in Quest 64. I've never played it, so I actually don't know if it's good or bad.
You're really not missing much.
But all right, Barry, what's your last prediction for 2020?
I'm actually going to kind of piggyback off of Greg here in a sense. Okay. There's definitely been a pattern with their mobile releases to home releases. So I think this year we are going to see a console version of Dragalia Lost. Oh. It's going to be not a gacha game. It's going to be more standalone with online components, kind of like the raids in Pokemon Sword and Shield. But I think, if anything, it's going to be set like years later, like 100 years later, and the characters in the mobile game will be talked about and referenced, and it'll be like, this way you don't have to play the mobile game to understand it, and you can just jump in. But if you did, it's kind of like, oh cool, there's a statue of Cleo, or oh there's a statue of Elisan, and like those characters and the history kind of deal. And it also works retroactively, like if you're playing this and I would like to know more about those characters, you could then boot up the mobile game and actually see the story going on. And it's when they announce that, they're also going to announce that Yuden will be announced with Smash. It's going to be a combo thing. We're gonna bring it a mobile exclusive character at the moment over to Smash as well.
Wow. Okay. So big time Dragalia Lost in 2020. They're like going to cash in. They're going to realize all that potential, and they're going to finally bring it over. Huh? All right. Cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, my last prediction is that I do not think that a Switch Pro is going to happen. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna say it's not gonna happen.
Well, do you think a Switch 2? Because it could be one or the other.
I think instead they're going to release their next system in 2021. Yeah, I think that they're not going to announce or release anything sort of Switch Pro. They've not really. I mean, they kind of did that with the DSi, but it was just a small enhancement, similar with the new 3DS sort of thing. But it's not typically their thing. So I think they're, even though Microsoft and Sony have been doing that, I think Nintendo's not going to. I think they're going to stay on their own path, and they're not going to follow suit to even try to compete. They may try to compete with their games, like we talked about Breath of the Wild 2, things like that are going to draw people in because of those franchises, those IP, and maybe some of those Wii U ports coming over and just build a really good catalog for the Switch. But I don't think a Switch Pro is going to happen. I think they're going to hold off until Switch 2 or whatever their next console system, their next big thing is probably going to happen at least in 2021. I'm hoping for 2021, but I could almost see them push it off to like announce it in 2021 and then release it in 2022 maybe.
So let me ask you this then, just to go off with that, because I definitely can see Nintendo waiting until 2021 and doing a Switch 2. That's something I've thought about plenty of times, and I said it even on this podcast. But you also said that you felt Breath of the Wild 2 will come out this year. And if my prediction is right and it comes out to compete with the PS5, even if it just comes out in the standard Switch, what's going to be their killer app for a Switch 2? Because Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be a killer app. Are they going to save it for that? Or if they push it back, how is that going to make their 2020?
Then yeah, I don't think it's going to be Zelda. I don't think they're gonna lean on Zelda for the next system. I think it could be. I could almost actually see them holding off on some of their other franchises. I think Metroid Prime 4 might be something they could hold off until Switch 2. I don't want them to, but I think that could be a pretty killer IP to bring with another system. I think the next Mario game, we wouldn't have seen a full new Mario game for several years. So I think that could be something that could do it. I think they possibly, even though it would be out of character, they could possibly hold off on Mario Kart and release that with the next system as well. Just let Mario Kart 8 Deluxe ride out the Switch life. I think there's enough there. I think maybe the next Pokemon as well. I think maybe even that another Fire Emblem again. I think there's enough IP there that Zelda doesn't have to be that big killer game, unless they're working on a different Zelda game that has like not a direct sequel, that doesn't look like Breath of the Wild.
For all we know, this is a Majora's Mask situation where the team that's working on Breath of the Wild 2 is really a small team using the assets from Breath of the Wild, and the main Zelda team's actually working on the next iteration.
Yeah. I don't think a direct sequel is actually the powerful thing that they would want on that next one. I think they'd rather have a full-fledged game if they want Zelda to be the launch game. So yeah,
it's possible.
Yeah.
So
it's very possible.
That's almost kind of a safer prediction. It's just like, oh, this is not going to happen.
Isn't it?
Nintendo's not going to put this out. They're not going to do
I'll
anything.
Nintendo's not going to put Pikmin 4 out this year. Nintendo's not going to put Metroid Prime 4 out this year.
Hey, that was my two predictions from last year.
Game this year.
Yeah. Nintendo is not going to release any Wii U games anymore. Wait. All right. Let's see if we got some other predictions there in the chat before we wrap up. Jakester is agreeing with me about the Switch Pro. Ryan said that he thinks that idea is better. 2021 release would put them in great position to not be too far behind the competitors from here on out. Cherry Goblin says that 4 years seems short for how well the Switch 1 is doing, and I agree. I think it is doing really well, but they may have something out there. It's really interesting. Didn't NVIDIA Shield just released a new released a new Shield with an updated version of the same processor that's in the Switch, I think. And so the technology is out there. If they want to stick with the same sort of stuff, it's already there. It's already released. I think it's either announced or it's actually already released. So it could be there. Yeah, so Ryan also says they could do a Breath of the Wild 2 on Switch and Switch 2 just like the Wii U. Yep, that's definitely if it does come out similar to similar to how Barry was saying, I could see it coming out for both. Definitely if they do what Barry was saying, announcing at the same time, releasing them around the same time. I could see it definitely, releasing Zelda on both consoles, just like they have done in the past with the two other games like that. So.
I mean, I almost think that they've learned that Zelda's a good seller, because didn't Breath of the Wild Switch outsell the Switch initially? Like, for
That's
the first
true.
Month
I forgot
or two?
about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. It was more Breath of the, because people were buying Breath of the Wild before they even had a Switch, because they A, couldn't get a Switch, or B, didn't have the money, but they wanted to get Breath of the Wild.
It's probably more for those collector's editions.
And that too.
Right,
People
that
buying
too,
multiple
yeah.
collector's editions.
Yeah, that's just crazy when you can get a game that sells more than the consoles itself. Like, I think you got a good franchise on your hands then.
So
Well,
I
it's
believe
also-
Twilight Princess saw like a similar success on Wii, when
Yeah.
it first came out. So
Well, that's because people were buying it when they could see it, because you couldn't get Wii's for like 2 years. So if they even found Breath of, or Twilight Princess, it was just as rare almost as seeing the system.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it. You play to collectors, and you get multiple copies sold. I mean, they companies are doing that all over. And they're just, here's 8 different variant covers. Got to buy them all.
Yeah. Ryan's saying that he's assuming Switch 2 would be backwards compatible. I agree.
Yeah.
I think Nintendo has always made that a priority. I mean, sometimes it's more of a priority than others, like how
Except
far
for the
back they
Switch.
go. Right, but they eventually brought their old games, over. So I think with a new thing, they have those times where they have to make those transition years. I think what was it, the 3DS or new 3DS or something like that kind of lost the DS ability, and sometimes you have to make hard decisions like
No,
that.
it never
But
lost
they've
the DS.
or
The
or,
DSi
Game
lost
Boy.
the GBA.
Yeah. So sometimes you have to make decisions like that, but eventually they bring it back, whether it's Virtual Console or whatever. And so they've always had it as some sort of level of priority, I think, in their minds. And so, yeah, I think it'd be really great and a really good idea if they made it as backwards compatible as possible. So, and I think, yeah, especially the digital realm, that's easy. So.
considering they haven't officially killed the 3DS, I really don't think a Switch 2 is coming out that soon. But
Well, I mean, they're still selling, so while it's still selling, they're making it, but they're not supporting it anymore. It's pretty much, they make it super cheap. And if they can make a product super cheap and it still sells, why not just keep it alive? I mean, in that sense.
Yeah.
But there's no more support.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a guy in the airport over my travels and everything. He was playing 3DS next to me, and this gigantic case on it. It was like it pretty much doubled the size of the 3DS. I was like, oh my gosh! And then all this padding and around it and everything. It's like, you're really afraid of dropping that thing, aren't you? But it was interesting because I haven't seen a 3DS actually played in the wild for a while. It's been mostly Switches. So, Ryan's asking us if we think the Switch 2 will stick with carts rather than discs, or go with discs and a cart slot, similar to the DS being able to play GBA games. I don't know. What do you guys think, Greg? Do you think they're going to switch up the medium?
I wouldn't. I think it's going to be more like the DS to 3DS, where they might oh, here's a little extra hinge, so you can't put it in the old Switch kind of thing. But I kind of see them trying to keep with the carts, because I think they really like that format, proprietary format, and that control, especially as I'm sure that the size of those things that have come down are coming down. So
yeah. Barry, what do you think?
I think yeah, but I'm gonna put a stipulation. If Nintendo's smart, they're going to raise the minimum. So like the minimum size on the
Mm,
carts, because like so many developers right now are doing the cheapest cart they could, and then when you pop it in, you still have to download more stuff, and that is dirty, and that is cheap and underhanded and defeats the whole purpose of having a physical game.
hmm
So raise that minimum so that, especially because if it's a Switch Pro or a Switch 2, it's going to obviously be more powerful, which means it's going to need more resources and you're going to need more memory on the card to run the game. And you don't want to have your third parties making sacrifices, because we all know Nintendo can take a game like they could take the entire DS library, let's say, all 1,700 games or whatever, and fit it on like 1 megabit worth
Yeah.
of space somehow, and have them all run. Like, they're insane when it comes to compression.
Yeah.
So outside of Nintendo, third parties are suffering, and you don't want third party versions of games to have hiccups or to have performance issues. So raise that minimum. And I think if they said, look, here's the deal, we're gonna have to raise the price, or keep, how it is the Switch tax now. We're gonna have to keep that, or even add an extra $5 to it, but to ensure that you're getting the full game on on the card, and you're gonna get a game that performs well. I think that's a no-brainer. If you want to play it portable, you're gonna want it to perform well.
Yeah.
You're gonna want to be able to enjoy the game and not have it be a hiccuping mess.
Right. Right. Yeah, I agree. I think I think they'll definitely keep with carts. And I could see, Greg, like what you said, like maybe it's a very similar sort of thing, but have a little hinge or whatever that makes you not be able to play the Switch 2 games on a Switch, to differentiate them a little bit. But I feel like it'd be either simple enough. I don't feel like we would see two different card slots again. I think they'd probably try to keep with the same basic size and just change it up just a little bit, like that, rather than give us two slots, because that takes up space if they're trying to make this really portable. If they stick with that same kind of that mindset, you want it to be as slim and portable, stick some more battery in there rather than another card slot, something like that. But I do hope they also up the natural storage space in the machine itself, without being able to put, or without requiring you to get an SD card, just to play a game. Because if they do, like we were saying, Barry, if like they keep that whole thing with like requiring you to download stuff, you're gonna fill up your storage on there just by downloading like two required DLCs or whatever, in order to just play a game that you bought on a cartridge. So yeah, I think they've got to do both.
I feel like they're just super lazy when it comes to space like that, because we've seen that since like the Wii.
Yeah.
Like there's been like barely any like internal memory.
Yeah.
And like the Wii U, like they made that big deal. Like, oh, it was gonna have like 32 gigabytes, but then it was like wasn't like Smash Brothers for Wii U like 20 or something like that. So it's like you couldn't even really have like 2 or 3 games like downloaded. It was like without an SD card.
Yeah, for sure. Cherry's wondering if we're gonna have a new Mario Party in 2020. That'd be interesting.
Possible.
Maybe, but like you said, I mean,
Yeah.
still waiting on that update.
Yeah, four boards in Super Mario Party. That's screaming for DLC. Let's add some stuff, and they don't do anything.
Yeah, I wonder if we could. I wonder if that's going to be the case more. If they're going to take that approach. I mean, that's probably worth a discussion. Actually, is do you think Nintendo's going to take more of the Smash Brothers Ultimate approach to more games in the future, and just release like the Ultimate version and just keep updating them with DLC? Could Super Mario Party be that way? And eventually we do get that update that adds 4 more boards instead of a brand new game. We actually just get that eventually update that doubles the amount of game that we actually have.
Yes and no. And what I mean by that is, yes, I think in terms of the short term, it is ingenious. I mean, that's the whole point of DLC, is to prolong the life of a game you've already made. So yes, it works. I say no because if they do bare minimum DLC, like let's just say, 2 years from now they're still releasing Smash Ultimate Character DLC. That's good. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it doesn't compete with the excitement of a brand new Smash game. So what I think they can do is you can use that model for a year, 2 years, whatever, as a standard practice, and then when the next game comes, make it the game you've just previously released with all DLC, and then add stuff to it, because you already have groundwork. You already have the base game. Like the next Smash Brothers, if they release Smash 6, and it's like, well, guess what? We got 45 characters. We cut characters. People are going to be mad. Like, plain and simple.
Yeah.
At this point, they really have to say the next Smash Brothers is Smash Ultimate with all the DLC characters, and then all these new characters on top of that, plus new game modes. There has to be new game modes. There has to be new to it. It's just like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a great game. It has the DLC. If they could have released DLC packs, and that would have been fine, but it's not going to be the same excitement as Mario Kart 9 with 16 brand new tracks and new mechanics and all that stuff. So I think there's nothing wrong with re-releasing a game with or releasing the next iteration of the game with all previous content. I think that's perfectly fine, especially for these games, these type of games. But like, you know, they can keep adding DLC to Mario Odyssey, but that's not going to be the same excitement to a brand new Mario adventure. So I don't see that. But my hope is if they do take a game and they do add DLC to it, I hope that they're smart enough to release at the end, even at the end of the system's life cycle, all the DLC on a cart, like a special Game of the Year type cart or end of life cart with all the DLC, the whole game there for you to own, not only for the collectors but for latecomers. Like, oh, cool! At this point, if I didn't jump on Breath of the Wild in 2017 and it's now 2021, and you know, let me get all that DLC pack, because they're not going to be making a lot on the Champions pack anymore. So that's run its course. Re-release the game. Now you're not only going to get collectors rebuying your game, so you get a lot of extra money that way, more than you would with the Champions pack. But then it's more inviting to newcomers. That's why a lot of companies do Game of the Year editions. And lately, those Game of the Year editions are just the standard editions with the DLC code. It's super cheap. But back in the day, it did include it all on the disc, and those that's the way to go.
Yeah. It is pretty cool. Like, I as a latecomer to some other systems, like apart from Nintendo. So when I first got my PS3, for instance, that I love those Game of the Year editions, because I was able to like get that same game that some people paid $60 for, and then like another $40 for all the DLC, and it's like $20 and you get all of that. It was great.
Exactly. And it's more inviting. It's like, oh wow, cool. It's more bang for my buck. You know, they can think about Smash. If say, hey, if you're gonna buy Smash Ultimate in 2021 and you want to play, you know, you're going to be missing out on, let's say, 10 characters or 11 characters because of Piranha Plant. I'm 11 characters down. Well, what if you just pay the $60 and you have it all? It's going to be more inviting. Put on the box, you know, with all DLC characters included. You know, and you could put all 11. I think it was like Injustice did it, where they re-released it as an Ultimate Edition with the characters, the DLC characters looming over the background. You know, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 kind of did it. Mortal Kombat XL did it. Stuff like that, where it's like, hey, you know what? You're a latecomer. We're going to re-release it. Here's all the DLC on the disc or on the card. It's just a more complete package. Yeah. As opposed to, I'm going to buy this game and I had to pay an extra $20 when no one else is playing the game online right now because it's past its prime. It's not worth it anymore. It's not going to sell. Yeah. Greg, what do you think? Because you predicted Mario Kart 9 coming out this year. Is it going to be a new game, or you think they're going to take all Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, stick it on there with a whole bunch of new stuff?
I don't know. I don't feel like they've really taken that approach. I mean, normally they kind of add a new feature to the actual new game. So, like, I feel like Mario Party, I feel like that could actually work better to keep building and keep the original games. I mean, there's no harm, no foul like with those micro games or whatever, mini games. But something like Mario Kart and Smash, it's better just to do like a collector's edition with like all the DLC, not necessarily make the sequel as like, oh, here's like the entire like first game and then also all this new stuff. So like I don't think they would do that with Breath of the Wild 2, where like, oh, you can play through all the entire original game and everything. That's different. You're talking a party game versus single player adventure.
It's true. I think those are different types of things too, because I could see us like seeing like what you said about Smash. Like I could see that happening with that game, but then like a completely different game like Zelda or whatever, like totally take a different approach.
Yeah. They're different.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't even think like even Smash, like Sakurai, I thought even said like might be the only time that they can actually get this much content into the game.
Well, it's because of the licenses. If they're going to take Smash Ultimate and put it into Smash 5 and then add on to it, they can do that with all the Nintendo characters. But to get Snake and Cloud and Sonic and all that, they have to re-license those characters. And there's no guarantee, is pretty much what he's saying, that all these characters will get the license again, that they'll be able to do it again. I mean, the odds are they will, because companies enjoy the publicity, but there's no guarantee.
Yeah.
But like cutting Young Link out, like Nintendo owns Young Link, they can absolutely keep him, and they've already designed him, for example.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I feel like Mario Party is a better game to always continue to grow, where even like Smash or Mario Kart they kind of like to redo like their brand new set of courses, a new game, and stuff.
So you would rather Smash come out with characters cut and stages cut as opposed to just adding. I'm not talking single player. Like I'm not the World of Light would be gone. Like put in a brand new single player and all that content new, but just like the actual fighting in the stages, carry those over with new in addition, because they already exist. Why develop brand new Mario stages when we already have 15 Mario stages? Let other franchises get new stages, kind of deal.
I mean, that's just kind of the mixed bag, though, kind of thing. I mean, I don't know if they can actually get all the characters back. I mean, I don't know.
Only the third-party characters would be an issue.
Yeah.
The Nintendo characters.
What if they just said this is for the lack of a better name, actually, this is probably what Nintendo would do, is call it the Ultimate Smash Brothers Ultimate. But if they labeled it in such a way that it's basically just like an updated version of a game that's already out, do they have to re-license the characters? Because I could see them almost do that instead if they don't have to relicense them.
I think they would at that point.
I don't know, because I could have sworn I remember part of our discussion when we were thinking that Smash for Wii U is just going to be like ported over to Switch. And I think we were all in the ballpark where it was like, oh, it's just a new Smash game, not like, oh, we'll just bring over Smash for Wii U and then just add in some extra characters. I mean,
yeah.
Well, I think we were talking about making Smash Wii U on Switch with all the 3DS stages, all the 3DS content, plus brand new content and new single player stuff like that, as opposed to cutting characters, which we kind of got.
Right.
We got that and more, minus Smash Run and Smash Tour, of course.
Yeah. That is true. Yeah, and then the gameplay just really kind of
refined.
Fell in between some other the existing ones and was refined. Yeah.
I don't know. I think usually people prefer new games as opposed to just one continuously living game. But
yeah. Although
I mean, better sales.
Exactly, but then you got other games that do live on, that have this huge thing. I mean, we're seeing with Overwatch, right? That Overwatch 2 is really just added a single player version, and they're giving us more maps. And so it's like living on that way. And there's so many other like esports games that just continue to live on. They continue to update it, continue to they haven't released a new, I don't know, I'm blanking on, there's so many out there that have been living on for years and years and years without a new version of it. So I think of all the games like that, I feel like Smash could be one of those. Absolutely. That I could see them not with other games, but Smash just kind of seems to fall in that category, that they could continue to just live on with new updates and everybody be okay with that.
I think that's a special case, though. Like, you're not going to see Mario Odyssey, 2 with the same levels and all that. Like, that's going to be a brand new adventure. Yeah. But look how excited people were with Pokemon Gold and Silver. When you beat that, you got to go back to Johto. People blew their minds. Oh my God, I got to go back and explore those again. It's like, that's fantastic. So I think there is some merit to having older content in there that you can, as a reward, to go back to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. All right, well, I think that brings us to the end of episode 189. But before we do close out, I want to talk quickly about things that we're excited about playing over the next couple weeks. So maybe it's a games you already had, or maybe it's some games that are actually coming out over the next couple weeks. One of the big ones is the Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE Encore is coming out on January 17th. So just a few short days away. Was that 10 days away? Next podcast is on the 21st. So any big games that are releasing soon, or maybe that you're going to kind of go back into your backlog and hope to play over the next couple weeks. How about you first, Greg?
I think it's definitely more likely to be the backlog case for me, considering I just got those nice games for Christmas that are still waiting to be played. So I really hope I can provide a more thorough update next time around. Be like, yes, I started Luigi's Mansion 3. Yes, I started Super Lucky's Tale. Yes, I started Pokemon. So I'm really thinking that I'm probably not going to really be buying anything before the next podcast. Yeah. I mean, I could still consider it later this year if the game turns out to get like good scores and whatnot, but I don't think I'll actually have a new game before the next podcast.
Yeah.
And hope to play the games that have just been sitting on the backlog.
Nice. Barry, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, my plan is to finish up Trails of Cold Steel and probably start 2, and then after 2, either go to 3 or do Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Those are my next 4 games I'm mainly planned on, but at the same time, I'm also probably going to start up Ring Fit Adventure and start working on that a bit and seeing how that goes for me. So
nice. It's a good time to do something like that. At the beginning of the new year,
it's a good time, and peer pressure. Peer pressure. Yeah, the Switch Mania Playcast crew is we all got to do it. I'm like, oh man, you're making me do this.
Has your wife still been playing it?
She hasn't had time with her father coming up and Christmas and Thanksgiving and work. It's just she has even less time to play than I do.
Nice. Yeah. That's same with me. I played it very little. Like I wish I did have more time. It's a great workout, but yeah, I haven't either. Ryan he's throwing us some really good encouragement tonight. Number one, he says that he loves our show. It's awesome. It gives him something to look forward to on his Tuesday nights. And also after our last podcast, so with us, spoiler if you haven't listened to our Game of the Year, we did award Dragon Quest. He said Dragon Age, but Dragon Quest 11 as our Game of the Year, and he went out and actually bought it. After
he's enjoying it.
Yeah, and he's enjoying it. So great job. And glad we can play a little bit of influence, and waiting for Nintendo to give us some royalties on that.
Well, you guys now you got to go play it, Steve.
I got to play it some more. Yes.
Go on.
Yes. Yeah. There's still like 6 hours of the or more of the demo that I can still play. Was it 8 hours long? Is that right?
Yeah, it's about 8 hours.
So I got about 6 hours left of the demo that I can still play.
And that doesn't even touch the surface on this game.
Yeah, so great. So I'm hoping to play some more Dragon Quest and some more Pokemon as well. And I'll be on Rocket League pretty much like all the time too. So that's definitely going to happen. So, all right. Well. Thanks again to everybody for tuning in for this episode. Again, if you have not subscribed, if you haven't hit that bell on YouTube, if you haven't shared this with someone else, if you haven't even left us like a positive comment on your favorite podcast app, make sure you do that, and that'd be awesome. Kind of just gets the word out there about the NintendoFuse Podcast. And also, if you haven't joined us on social media or our Discord, we'd love for you guys to join us. All those links are in the show notes, the descriptions down below, and we would love for you guys to join in because there's just a growing community, especially in our Discord. It's so great to have these conversations with you guys in our community, like between podcast episodes. It's been so much fun just to see what you guys are playing, what you're thinking about different games you're playing. We have some speculation over there as well, and it's just fun to keep the conversation going between podcast episodes. So if you haven't joined all that, make sure you check out the links down below or in the podcast description, and that'd be awesome. So our next podcast is going to be on January 21st. That's two Tuesdays, so 2 weeks from today, January 21st, and we'll be talking, of course, about the Pokemon Direct and whatever they announced during that, and maybe we'll have a Nintendo Direct, either that we can talk about and speculate a little more about, or perhaps we'll be maybe maybe talking about what they actually announced, but probably not. It's probably going to happen like the day after. Let's be honest. So that's our luck. So anyway, thanks again for tuning in, everybody. January 21st, we'll be back. Thanks, Greg and Barry, for joining us again.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me on.
Sure.
Have a great night, guys.
We'll
Great night.
see you next time.